The King's is a part of the Edinburgh creative landscape, and a historic one at that has existed for so many years and is very rightly represented as the People's Theatre.
The King's is actually quite a significant landmark for Tollcross, and it's very much part of our community, and it's very much our King's Theatre.
There's an ambience being built up of all the people who have gone through these doors. There's been a lot of laughs, there's been a lot of tears, so that must have left something.
I've been coming to the King's Theatre for at least 1 week every year for the last 50 years. And it's just like coming home.
Southern Light's been in the King's Theatre for over 100 years. So it really is the Southern Light spiritual home.
The King's, for me, it was my first experience of live theatre. I was brought along by my parents to see Stanley Baxter in the King's Panto, and I'm sure that actually the King's, for probably hundreds of thousands of kids by now, has been their first experience of live theatre.
Everybody's got a story about coming to a show here, and you know, a lot of them about the Panto, but not just the Panto. There's been so much phenomenal stuff here.
There wouldn't be an Edinburgh International Festival if there wasn't a King's Theatre, because this is where really kind of a lot of what you would call the historical signature moments of the festival happen.
The theatre culture in Scotland is really vivid and vibrant. It contains work from independent companies, work with young people, a really vibrant new playwriting culture. And I actually think I've probably seen an awful lot of that work on this stage in this building.
If the King's redevelopment didn't go ahead, it would be a profound loss to Scottish theatre, but also more than that to the nation's audiences. It has to go ahead. It has to survive, it has to be here, and it has to be modernised.
We want to make sure that our premier theatre space in the city is appropriate for the way theatre, dance, opera tours now. And we want to make sure that they don't leapfrog over Edinburgh because we don't have the technical facility here.
When the redevelopment of the King's happens, we can hopefully all be in the one building. At the moment, our junior gang, which are the Cubs and Brownies, have to use the central halls further down in Tollcross and run back and forward to change through the whole performance. Just to be in the same building would give so many other youngsters an opportunity that we can't give them at the moment.
To have access to the King's during the school day would be amazing. I think one of the key things that we look at Tollcross is wider achievement and children having those opportunities to explore the world beyond the school and to look at developing their own passions and interests. And I think having a refurbished King's Theatre would very much help us to reach that goal.
The most exciting thing about the King's redevelopment is that community aspect, that all of a sudden we're going to open ourselves up as a venue to the King's being a place that people want to spend time in throughout the day, even when there isn't a show going on.
When we're meeting people during the day, we actually can say, let's meet at the King's. I think that'll be so much better.
The King's redevelopment will mean that this is not just a theatre, but this is a real hub and a home for the people that live around it, for the people of Edinburgh, and for anybody that comes to visit. And I think the most important thing about the redevelopment for me is to do it in a way that makes sure that nobody is excluded.
The redevelopment of the King's is absolutely essential. It should allow for far greater access to the theatre.
The redevelopment is so important because it means that more people who have impairments, more disabled people can experience that work, can also put their work on in that venue and can be part of Scottish culture in a very important way.
I used to use a wheelchair for years and still sometimes struggle to get about. And having better access backstage, better access front of house will mean loads more amazing audiences and amazing artists can come here from all over the world to make, work and experience art.
You know, I think it's a real nightmare to think that this place might close and be turned into some, I don't know, yuppie penthouse flats or something, which is the last thing we need. And all of this wonderful facility that's been here for so many decades, and it could be so great for so many decades more. We can't lose that. We really can't lose it.
I think the King's is one of these things where I don't think people would understand exactly what it brought to the city until it was gone and it was too late.
We cannot contemplate the loss of the King's. The refurbishment has to go ahead so that it's accessible, it's brought to life, and that we can enjoy it, and future generations across the city and visitors to Edinburgh can enjoy the King's going forward.
Please support the King's future.
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 I am 100 years old and have always come to the King. Now, please support the King's so that the next generation can enjoy it as well.